I slammed the kitchen door behind me, the sound echoing like a gunshot through our quiet suburban home, but it did nothing to drown out David's voice. You're worthless, Lisa. Always have been. No wonder the kids are turning out like this. They take after you. His words sliced through the air, sharp as ever, while our two boys, Tommy, 10, and little Ben, 7, sat frozen at the dinner table, forks hovering over uneaten pasta. I stood there, hands trembling on the counter, confusion swirling in my chest like poison. Was this my fault? Had I provoked him again by burning the sauce? Fear knotted my stomach. If I fought back, it'd escalate, and the boys would see it all. Guilt washed over me. I'd promised myself I'd shield them from this. But here we were, another night in the cycle I'd endured for 12 years, all to keep our family intact. It hadn't always been this blatant. When David and I met in college, he was charming, the guy who remembered my coffee order and made me laugh until my sides hurt. We married young at 23, and Tommy came along a year later, Ben 2 years after that. The abuse crept in slowly, like fog rolling over a lake. At first, it was subtle criticisms. You look tired, babe. Maybe lay off the carbs. I'd laugh it off, tell myself he was just honest. But as motherhood swallowed me, sleepless nights, endless laundry, part-time work as a teacher, he isolated me. Your friends are drama. We don't need them. I'd nod, too exhausted to argue, watching my social circle shrink until it was just us. Money became his weapon too. He controlled the accounts, doling out allowances like I was a child. You just waste it, he'd say with that condescending smile. Heartbreak built quietly. I'd cry in the shower, wondering where the man I loved had gone, fearing I'd trapped myself in this for the boys' sake. The tension simmered for years. I'd confide in my sister over hushed phone calls, but she'd urge me to leave. The kids need a happy mom, she'd say. But how? David earned the big salary as a sales exec. I made pennies substitute teaching. Divorce meant poverty, custody battles, uprooting the boys from their school and friends. So I stayed, plastering on smiles for PTA meetings, enduring his gaslighting. You're imagining things, Lisa. You're too sensitive. Confusion became my constant companion. Was I crazy? Guilt gnawed deeper. Every time Tommy flinched at raised voices or Ben asked why Daddy was mean, I'd hate myself for not protecting them better. But leaving felt like betrayal, shattering the family illusion I'd fought to maintain. Then came the first twist, the one that cracked my resolve wide open. It was last spring, during one of David's business trips. He'd been taking more of them, coming home smelling of unfamiliar perfume, but I'd buried my suspicions to avoid rocking the boat. While he was gone, I found his old phone in the garage, tucked in a box of holiday decorations. Curiosity won. I charged it and scrolled. Messages from Katie, his secretary. Flirty at first, then explicit. Photos. Hotel bookings. An affair spanning 2 years. My knees buckled. I slid to the cold concrete floor, sobs ripping through me. Betrayal burned like fire. How could he preach family values while sleeping around? Fear spiked. If I confronted him, he'd turn it on me. Call me paranoid. Guilt flooded in waves. Had my weakness driven him away? I deleted the evidence from my mind, stuffed the phone back, and pretended nothing happened. For the boys. Always for the boys. We carried on, but the poison spread. David's abuse sharpened. He'd mock me in front of them now, calling me useless over small things like forgetting milk. Tommy started acting out at school, getting into fights, while Ben withdrew, clinging to me like a shadow. I poured everything into motherhood. Baking cookies, helping with homework, whispering I love you 100 times a day to compensate. But emotional struggle weighed me down. Nights blurred into tear-soaked pillows. Heartbreak for the life I dreamed of versus this nightmare. Money tightened too. David forgot to pay bills, blaming me for overspending on groceries. I took extra shifts, hiding cash in a shoebox for emergencies, fearing he'd cut me off entirely. The second twist hit like a storm, raising the stakes to unbearable heights. It was 3 months ago, on Ben's birthday. I'd scrimped to buy him a new bike, wrapping it in the garage after the boys went to bed. David came home late, reeking of whiskey and that damn perfume again. What the hell is this? He snarled, kicking the bike over. I begged him to stop, but he grabbed my arm, twisting hard enough to bruise. You think you can spend my money without asking? His face contorted, and for the first time, I saw real violence in his eyes. But the twist? Tommy walked in, eyes wide, and shouted, Stop hurting Mom. David turned on him, grabbed Tommy by the shirt, shoved him against the wall. Mind your business, kid. Ben's cries echoed from upstairs. In that moment, confusion cleared. This wasn't just about me anymore. My staying had poisoned them too. Heartbreak peaked. Guilt for letting it go this far. Fear that they'd grow up thinking this was love. The climax exploded that night. I yanked David off Tommy, screaming for him to leave. He laughed at first. You need me, Lisa. You'd be nothing without me. But when I threatened to call the police, showing him the bruises blooming on my arm, his facade cracked. He stormed out, slamming doors, tires screeching. The boys clung to me as we huddled on the couch, their small bodies shaking. I locked every door, called my sister, and filed a report the next morning. Restraining order in hand, I packed bags, moving us to her guest room. David texted apologies, promised therapy, but I blocked him. The affair? I confronted Katie anonymously. Turns out she had no idea about us. She ended it, but the damage was done. Now, months later, the house we fled feels like a distant memory. We're in a small apartment, scraping by on my salary and child support wrangled through lawyers. The boys are in therapy, slowly healing. Tommy's grades are up. Ben smiles more. But in quiet reflections, like watching them sleep, the emotional scars surface. Heartbreak for the years lost, guilt for enduring so long, confusion over how love turned toxic, fear of repeating patterns. Motherhood saved me. Their faces reminded me I deserved better. Yet, part of me wonders if I could have fixed it, if staying longer would have spared them the upheaval. If you were me, trapped in emotional abuse, clinging to a toxic marriage for your children's sake, what would you do? Would you have left sooner, fought for counseling one last time, or cut ties completely like I did? Please share your thoughts. I need to know if there's peace on the other side.